been making a couple videos lately on the MCU because the MCU going into phase 5 is now starting to essentially cook back up again, right? So there's a lot of news and a lot of rumors going around about the MCU currently. And one of the latest new rumors has claimed that Marvel Studios, according to Bounding Into Comics, is reevaluating its release lineup for phases 5 and 6 over concerns about poor quality. Now, I do think that the quality of the MCU films has taken a massive hit. If you guys have noticed, MCU Phase 4 was probably, in terms visually anyway, one of the ugliest phases by far. Unfortunately, She-Hulk definitely made it pretty ugly, but I don't really want to count She-Hulk into that whole Phase 4 lineup because that was a TV show, not a movie. But overall, it was probably the most visually unimpressive movies within the lineup. And I don't think that the quality is getting better. I do think that the quality is getting worse. And there's a couple reasons why I think that. The number one reason I think that is because Disney, as well as other companies, by the way, not just Disney, but Disney has fired a ton of people. And I think what they're trying to do is that Disney is trying to find a way to produce these movies, right? And lower the budget costs of these movies while also simultaneously increasing the chance of profit by pandering to certain groups and removing themselves from China. Their hope is that by lowering the cost of their movies and firing enough people that they can produce the same movies at a lower cost while that'll essentially take care of the loss that they're going to get from China for some movies, not all of them. And then also they think they're going to make the same money even at a lower quality. That's essentially what they're thinking. But unfortunately for them, Phase 4 has taught that they are losing massive amounts of money. Some of their movies did make money. Black Panther made money. Obviously, No Way Home made money. No Way Home made a fuck ton of money, obviously. But I do think that's their plan. It just makes sense, right? So they're so quick to say, "Oh, screw China." They were never like that before. They never would be the first ones to say screw China. They would do literally anything they possibly could to try to get that Chinese dollar. But now, because all the eyes are on them, because they made it politically convenient to have all the eyes on them, now they know they can't do that. They can't openly come out and say, okay, well, we need to make sure we get this released in China because we need the money. No, all these lunatics who they pander to are now going to be expecting Disney to give up that money. And if they don't, they're going to try to cancel them. That's what they're basically trying to do. So I feel like they're trying to lower the cost of their movies while also expecting to make the same amount of profit or the same amount of sales, which will allow them to recoup the loss of money that they would have gained by releasing in China. That's my idea. But let's get into this particular article from Bounding Into Comics. It says, a new rumor claims that Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios are looking at changing their release lineup for their upcoming Phase 5 and Phase 6 films and television shows over internal concerns about the poor quality of shows and movies in Phase 4. This rumor comes on the heels of the Walt Disney Company announcing that Bob Iger returned to the company as CEO and replaced Bob Chapek. Along with the announcement of Iger's return, the Walt Disney Company revealed in an SEC filing that they would be making significant changes to the company's structure and specifically how it approaches distributing its content. The SEC document states, as contemplated by the leadership change announcement, we anticipate that within the coming months, Mr. Iger will initiate organizational and operating changes within the company to address the board's goals. And that's the lowering cost part. I just want to be that very clear. While the plans are in early stages, changes in our structure and operations include within DMED and including possibly our own distribution approach and the business's distribution platform selected for the initial distribution of content can be expected. The restructuring and change in business strategy, once determined, could result in impairment charges, it adds. For those unfamiliar with DMED, it stands for Disney Media and Entertainment Division and is one of the two of the Walt Disney Company's main segments, the other being Disney's Parks, Experiences, and Products DPEP. As noted on the company's website, DMED is responsible for the P&L management in all distribution, network engineering operations, sales, advertising data, and certain key technology functions worldwide for the company's content engines. DMED also manages operations for the company's streaming services, including Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus Hotstar, and domestic broadcast and cable television networks. So, as I mentioned, guys, whenever a company starts talking about something like restructuring, Restructuring is how do I want to put it? Restructuring is basically terms for we are going to fire a lot of people. They're going to fire a lot of people. It's already started to happen. It's going to continue to happen. And I do genuinely believe that it has to do with lowering the cost when it comes to these movies as much as possible because they're not going to get as many Chinese releases as they used to. So they got to find a way to make up that money somehow to get themselves back into the black and out of the red. That's just what they have to do. Following this confirmation that the Walt Disney Company will be making significant changes to the way it does business and specifically the way it distributes its content, a rumor for the Cosmic Circus claims Marvel Studios is currently reevaluating its release lineup for phases 5 and 6. The site adds, as Phase 4 comes to a close, we've been informed of internal negative feedback about how Phase 4 was handled regarding product distribution and quality. Well, listen, it's Phase 4 was just terrible, okay? Phase 4 didn't really have a lot of bangers. I think honestly the only banger it really had was No Way Home, and that's majority Sony anyway, I believe. So some people don't even count that in Phase 4, but at the end of the day it was a Phase 4 movie whether you like it or not. Marvel definitely got some of that cut. It is what it is, but it did so much money. It was insane. But other than that, the rest of Phase 4 was pretty average or weak or just bad overall. Like Thor Love and Thunder was pretty terrible, in my opinion. It says, in order to correct the poor performance and quality of the Phase 4 films and television series, Marvel Studios will be implementing a quality over quantity approach to these phases. One of the changes that the site claims Marvel Studios will implement is a change in the release schedule as well as changes in format of various projects. They also note that similar to David Zaslav axing various DC-related projects like Batgirl, Marvel Studios could do the same. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I really do because this is Disney we're talking about, okay? This is I understand Warner Brothers is pretty woke, CW, like all that stuff, but this is Disney. Disney is insane. They are the ultimate woke company. There's no way they're going to get rid of these projects. They would rather release the series and let it die after a season 1 versus flat out canceling it before it even comes out. They would rather do that. I promise you. If they're going to cancel something, it's going to be after it comes out of the first season. When we're talking about shows, movies, I don't know. Movies might be a little particular, but when it comes to shows, they're definitely going to release the season 1, then cancel. It says the site asserts, in the most extreme and unlikely of cases, a postponement or outright cancellation of a project could occur if it doesn't align with Marvel's overarching plans for the multiverse saga. It's not a surprise to anyone, but the biggest of Marvel's shills that Marvel Studios' fare following Avengers Infinity War has been subpar. One need only look at the box office revenue to see that people aren't going to the theaters to see these films. Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, Black Widow, and Eternals are all at the bottom of the worldwide total gross charts for Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Thor Love and Thunder performed worse than Thor Ragnarok, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever is nowhere near matching the box office sales of the first Black Panther film. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home are the only two films to break the mold of the phase. Now, out of all these films, okay, like I said before, I truly enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home, and I actually kind of enjoyed Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But the problem with that particular movie is that it wasn't a Doctor Strange movie, in my opinion. It was a Wanda movie, and that was my biggest issue with that particular movie. Otherwise, I kind of enjoyed it for the most part. It was a little different for sure, but I kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, obviously Spider-Man No Way Home takes the cake in terms of all these movies that came out in Phase 4. It says not only did Phase 4 films not bring people to the box office, they're also some of the poorest rated films on IMDb. Well, to be fair, that's because they were also very polarizing. And they were polarizing politically. They were polarizing ideologically. They were basically films that were argued about online. So whenever that happens, you're going to get a ton of review bombing both sides. You're going to get review bombing positive 10 out of 10s, and you're going to get review bombing 1 out of 10s. It's just the way things work with these kind of movies. So I wouldn't really take the IMDb stuff too seriously, but we can still get into it. So it says Eternals and Black Widow are the lowest rated MCU films with a score of 6.3. Yeah, well, those were trash, so I agree with that. Thor Love and Thunder sits in the third worst with a score of 6.3. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness might have a higher box office grosses, but it's the 7th worst rated film with a score of 6.9. Their most recent release, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, is also in the bottom half of all MCU films. It's tied for the 13th worst. The only Phase 4 film that truly breaks the mold is Spider-Man No Way Home. It is in the third best rated film with a score of 8.3. It's behind both Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, which are tied for first at 8.4. Shang-Chi has a score of 7.4, which ties us for the 18th worst. Again, while it's abundantly clear to anyone but the biggest Marvel shills that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a quality problem, it's hard to take this rumor seriously given CEO Bob Iger's recent comments he made during a town hall addressing the Walt Disney Company employees. During that appearance, Iger made it clear he would be doubling down on woke content and would continue to Disney's goal of trying to make children do things that they really should not be doing. So, like I said, guys, I don't have to go further into this article. I made a video about Bob Iger. If you guys missed that video, you could go check it out. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily agree that this rumor is going to happen. I don't see Disney doing this. Disney would rather put out the product and let it fail versus canceling it before it even comes out, especially after what happened with David Zaslav and Batgirl. There's no way in hell that they would do that. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you think of today's story, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.